Alright, I guess we'll start. Ooh. I sit down? I'll sit like this, laid back. Alright, yeah, I'm at school right now. And the next chapter we're going to knock off is chapter 20. It feels kind of weird being here when there's nobody here, but it's just the nature of things, how things are. Okay, chapter 20, no journal entry. Somebody stole them. Peter Short was disappointed when Zach didn't show up in the cafeteria for lunch. The school was buzzing with the news of the new chalkboard message, and he wanted to see Zach's reaction to the second card he had played early that morning in Mrs. Miller's room. Peter's third card was going to be a bluff card. He had been up half the night studying the journal, but he still had some doubts about who Zach really was. He would have to play the third card in person. His chance came after lunch. So now the suspense is building. Zach was in no hurry to return to school. In fact, he thought about skipping the afternoon altogether to wait by the phone for his mother to call back. But after a while sitting there by himself, it started to drive him crazy. He was a half an hour late. He stopped in the office for a late slip, telling the secretary that going home had taken longer than he thought. He wrote out the slip, barely looking up at him, and Zach was grateful that Mrs. Pyle's office door was closed. He stopped at his locker to get his math book and decided to take another look at his dad's journal before going to class. As he pulled it out of the backpack, the rubber band snapped and the loose pages spilled all over the freshly waxed floor. Great! He got down on his knees and hurriedly began gathering the pages. Did you drop these? Zach looked up. Peter Short was standing in front of him, holding a couple of loose pages. Zach stood up and grabbed them out of his hand. Peter laughed as Zach stuffed the pages into the tattered journal. Looks like you need a new journal, Jack, Peter said. Zach began to feel queasy. My name is Zach, not Jack. Peter stopped smiling. Time for the third card. Your name is Jack Osborne. And the fourth card. Your sister's name is Joanne Osborne. Zach closed his eyes in defeat. How did you get my journal? Peter's smile returned. The bluff had worked. Until that moment, he hadn't known for certain that Zach Granger was Jack Osborne. Zach had not written their old last name in the journal. The last name had come from the man looking for them, Hector Jones. What you should be asking me is what I'm going to do with your journal. What are you going to do with it? I haven't decided, Peter said. Well, that depends on you. Who have you told about it? No one. Zach felt a flicker of hope. What do you want? Peter looked at the clock on the wall. I need to get back to class. I'll meet you in the park at 4 o'clock, and we can discuss it. Ooh, blackmail. Zach stared at him. How about if I go to Mrs. Pyle and tell her that you have it? Peter laughed. You're a terrible bluffer, Jack. If you tell her, I'll tell everyone in this school who you are. Peter walked away, then stopped and turned back for a second. Does Cataline know your eyes aren't really blue? Peter got to his class. He unfolded the loose journal page he had stuffed into his pocket before Zach saw him standing there. The sketch on the torn page looked a little like Hector Jones. Zach knew he could not trust Peter, but if they could delay Peter long enough for his mother to get in touch with Uncle Don and Aunt Doris, the U.S. Marshals might have some way of keeping Peter's mouth shut. There was still hope. And after school, Zach stopped by the custodian room. Your sister was amazing yesterday, Sam said. She's going to make a great Christine. Well, if she changes her name to Christine in her next life, Zach thought. Yeah, she's pretty excited. Did they make it to L.A. okay? Well, I haven't heard from them yet. What time are you coming over to the Nevada? I should be there by dinner. Sam looked at Zach closely. You know, you don't look like a kid who's going up to the mountains with his girlfriend for the weekend. Is everything okay? Sure. I heard about the note on the chalkboard. Mrs. Powell was convinced that you were involved somehow. Well, she's wrong. Well, I told her that it didn't seem like something that you would do. Are you sure there's nothing going on that you would like to talk about? Zach shook his head and left the room. When he got home, the first thing he did was call his mother's hotel. They still had not checked in. I'd like to leave another message, Zach said. Well, if they haven't checked in by now, they're not checking in, the woman said. We're full. Are you sure this is the right hotel? It's the only number she gave me. Well, there are no Grangers here and none on the reservation list. They must have gone to another hotel. Zach hung the phone up and went into his mother's bedroom, hoping to find the number for Uncle Don and Aunt Doris. It wasn't there. The only thing for him to do was to meet with Peter and see what he wanted. He packed a few things for his trip to the mountains and walked to the park across the street from the school. Peter was looking at his watch. You're late. Where's my journal? Peter reached into his backpack and pulled the journal out. Here you go, he said cheerfully, and handed it to him. Zach was not expecting this. Don't look so shocked, Peter smirked. I don't need your journal anymore. I already know what's in it. The 3 E's. Peter knew how this worked better than most. All he had to do was tell the story to one person, and the Grangers might as well change their name back to Osborne. What do you want? Zach thought Peter would ask him for money, but he surprised him. I want you to break up with Kat, he said. Are you serious? Dead serious. Why? Call it a test. What am I supposed to say to her? I don't care what you say to her. All I know is that it better work. If I hear of you walking to school with her, going up to the sheep camp, or anything else, everybody in town will know who you are. When Zach got to the Nevada, he went right into the kitchen to find Catalin. She was mixing salad. Mrs. Cristobal intercepted him before he got to her. You'll be in room 9, she said. It's right next door to Sam's room. It has been empty for a while. I'm afraid there's not much in it, but it will only be for 1 night. 2 nights, Zach thought. He wasn't going up to the Rubies. Thanks. He walked over to Catalin. Where were you after school? She asked. I looked all over for you. I went home to get my things. If it were up to Banat, we would leave tonight, but my mother wouldn't hear it. We'll be leaving tomorrow early. Zach looked around the crowded kitchen. He couldn't tell Catalin now. It would have to wait until after dinner. I guess I'll go up and get settled in. He went upstairs. The door to number 9 was open, and Mrs. Cristobal was right. There was nothing in the room except a bed and a dresser. Sam walked in behind him. You all ready to go, Zach? Yeah. Are you sure you're feeling okay? And Sam had just given him his excuse for not going up to the Rubies. I might be getting sick or something. Maybe the flu. Sam looked concerned. Maybe you should lie down for a while and see if you could shake it off. Good idea. Do you want to eat? I don't know. Well, you just rest up for now, and if you feel like eating, come down later. Thanks, Sam. And Zach put his backpack in the bottom drawer of the dresser and lay down on the bed. Peter Short waited outside the Nugget Casino for his parents. There was a note in the trailer saying they wanted him to meet them for dinner. They were already half an hour late, and he was about ready to go home and make himself something to eat when his mother came out the door. Your father's a big winner tonight, she said happily, not mentioning a word about being 45 minutes late. How much did he win? $5,000. A moment later, Peter's father came through the door, flushed with excitement. Hey, son, want to go to Reno with us? Your mom and I want to take a run over there and while the cards are working, and we'll come back on Sunday. I don't know, Peter said, trying not to show his disappointment. He knew from past experience that if his parents went to Reno, they wouldn't leave until they had lost every cent they had won. I have a lot of homework to do. No problem, his father said. Peter saw the relief in his father's face. He hadn't wanted Peter to go in the first place. Guess you'll be on your own this weekend then. Wish my parents had trusted me like we trust you. Maybe you should leave enough money here for me to get that ticket to San Francisco, Peter said. What are you talking about? You know, just in case you don't win in Reno. Are you trying to sabotage my luck or something? You know better than that. Don't worry about the trip to San Francisco. The cards are with us. When we get back, I'll buy you a first-class ticket to see your brother. Peter knew better than to push it. So, are you leaving now? Not until after we eat, his mother said. Where do you want to go? Let's go to the Nevada, Peter said. Big spender, his father said. No problem. We'll have the works. All right, yeah, getting more and more suspenseful. I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I were Zach. I would probably go to Cataline and tell her the truth about everything and how Peter is being very, very tricky, very malicious. All right, good job, guys.